What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Kalani, star of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, has finally spoken out about all of the accusations that viewers have of the show have been throwing at her family for the past couple of years, ever since they first appeared on the show. You see, ever since Kalani was introduced to us on 90 Day Fiance alongside her husband Asuelo, viewers have been accusing him of suffering from autism, which is a mental disability. And Kalani has finally had enough and shot back on Instagram. She said in a comment to a viewer who, quote unquote, gently suggested that she get her husband checked out to see if he is on the spectrum. She finally had enough and said, and I quote, "It wouldn't be logical for the people of Samoa to diagnose Americans as mentally disabled or autistic based on their inability to speak the Samoan language, as well as their inability to execute Samoan customs, right? So why do so many of you feel comfortable assessing someone from a different country and culture based on your American ideals and normalcy?" I say bravo, bravo, bravo to Kalani for that, for so many reasons. First of all, whether or not it is true, let's just say one thing that is, the universal truth. It is incredibly rude to go up to someone, as a random person on the street, as a non-medical professional who has not, even if you are a medical professional, you've not been tasked with the care of this person. So it is incredibly rude and disgusting to literally tell someone that you think that they have a mental disability. Like, hey, I don't know you. I watch you for 10 minutes a week on a reality show. So I've diagnosed you. Here's my little prescription for you. You're mentally disabled. You have autism. I'm sure of it. I've watched a documentary before. I've seen some YouTube. I've read some books. I have a cousin. I have a friend. My kid's in school with a kid who's autistic. So based on that and how you remind me of this person, I can say with my social media that you are autistic. And I need you to go, get a second opinion from one of my colleagues, in the medical industry to validate my claims. Like that, the amount of people who feel comfortable accusing people of having autism is so mind-blowing to me. It's not even funny. I really thought that these conversations were being left exclusively in the the Facebook groups or the Reddit groups or the Twitters or whatever. But to hear that people are literally going to Kalani and demanding that she take Asuelu and their children, I'm guessing Oliver, to see a doctor to be diagnosed for autism, I am endlessly amazed by the lack of couth that so many people have. Anyway, she continued on to say that starting from now, she is going to be blocking everybody that quote unquote lovingly messages her to have her kids and Asuelu assessed. She continued on to say, and I quote, "My mom worked in that field for almost 20 years. I trust her assessments over people who ironically can't even differentiate between homophones yet have the audacity to judge others based on their grasp of the language." I feel like that was a very respectful clapback to say, listen, leave my family alone. I don't know you. You don't know me. You don't know my husband. You don't know my children. You see a heavily edited, version of us, for 10 minutes by the time they squeeze each couple's storyline in once a week. That is not enough to diagnose people. Second of all, the people diagnosing Asuelu and the children are 9.9 times out of 10 not even medical professionals. And at the one time that they are a medical professional, they need to have their license revoked because it is unethical for a medical professional to be diagnosing people, that they don't even know, that are not under their care. What I will say though is that people are not really diagnosing, quote unquote, Asuelu as autistic based on his grasp of the English language. There have been so many other members from 90 Day Fiance who have, very poor English, and that's okay because they're not from an English-speaking country, they're learning, who have escaped this label from the 90 Day Fiance fandom. I think that the biggest catalyst for this was the way that Asuelu reacted on his first 90 Day Fiance reunion special, where a lot of people were screaming, and then he started talking to himself, then he got frustrated with all the noise, so he started legitimately screaming, and I believe he was hitting himself in the head as well, where people were like, wait a second, that is not normal. Like, you know, he should have that looked at. That reminds me of like sensory overload. That's typical in this, blah, blah, blah. So I do feel as though Kalani was oversimplifying a little bit of the reason why people believe that about Asuelo. But, you know, I do understand her thing about the customs, you know, like, sure, you know, the customs are also different from country to country. Something that is normal to you guys as Americans is not normal to them as Samoans. It's not normal to me as a Canadian. It's not normal to people, you know, around me here in France either. Like, it's just, there is no global normal way of being for the most part. Like, every country and culture has its own little quirks. Even within a country, there are so many little different cultures within like different cities, municipalities, you name it. So I get that aspect. Like, sure, Asuelo, you know, says out loud random things that he shouldn't be, you know, that he might be thinking, but he shouldn't say out loud. Like when they went to a doctor to determine whether or not the children would be able to go to Samoa with them, he said, where's the doctor? Is this girl a doctor? Like, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, that's really weird. Sure it is. But maybe it was normal to him to still believe that way, even though it is outdated, you know, and say it out loud, just like maybe it's normal to you to not be a doctor and diagnose a reality television star and literally go to the star and their family. Like, we all have different standards of what is normal to us. And I think it is incredibly ironic that the same people who believe it is normal to behave that way and to harass reality stars in that way believe it's abnormal for Asuelo to do some of the things that he does. But I digress. You guys, what do you think about this situation? Is Kalani right to finally snap and clap back against the viewers of 90 Day Fiance for constantly trying to diagnose her husband with autism? Make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.